Hello everyone. This video is going to cover setting up a basic material node network utilizing Arnold. For this setup, I will be using texture files that I have exported from Substance Painter. So to start things off, I'm going to go to the very top and click this little blue icon to open up the Hypershade. Since we are utilizing Arnold, I want to make sure that I pull Arnold nodes. Over on the far left is a little search bar. I'm going to search for standard, and I am looking for aiStandardSurface. A good rule of thumb is anytime you're trying to find Arnold nodes, all Arnold nodes will have this AI in front of the name. If I open up my source images folder, I do have my texture files over here. I am utilizing UDIM style texture files. However, this same process will work whether or not they are UDIM. To make this a lot quicker, you can select your texture files, and if you're using UDIM, you only need to select the first one, in this case 1001. I've grabbed my base color, metalness, normal, and roughness, and I'm just going to left click and drag them right over here into the workspace. Doing so will automatically put them side by side, at which case I'm just going to rearrange them to make sure they're on top of each other. That way I can zoom in as close as I can and work a little bit easier. So base color, normal, metalness, and roughness are the four most common PBR texture files. Starting one by one, looking at base color, I'm going to look for this out color node and click and drag over to base color onto the Arnold material. Metalness and roughness are both grayscale images, and so we are not actually going to use out color. If I hit this little plus sign on these nodes, you'll notice out color is R, G, and B values. And if I actually take a look at these images, you'll notice metalness is grayscale, roughness is grayscale. However, base color has color information and normal has color information. So for both metalness and roughness, we're going to want to use the out alpha instead. With metalness, I'm going to click out alpha from here and click metalness over on the right. And for roughness, I'm going to click out alpha and click specular roughness. Now make sure you do use specular roughness. Do not use diffuse roughness for this. Lastly, for normal, we actually need to create one additional node. So I'm going to come up here and do another search for normal, and I want to grab this aiNormalMap. With aiNormalMap, I'm going to go from out color on the normal to input, and then move this down and select out value and go to normal camera. And I'll go ahead and rearrange these a little bit just so they're not overlapping. Now those are the connections we have to do. We still have to change a bit of settings. So before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and rename this material by double clicking. And I'm just going to match the name that I have on this file. So in this case, this is Eiffel Tower Phone. And I'm going to put underscore mat, which stands for material. I am going to go ahead and copy and paste this name over here to the shader group. I'm going to paste the same exact thing and just add SG for shader group. Now there are a couple of values I need to adjust, starting off with metal, roughness, and normal. With the normal node selected, I'm going to click this color space dropdown, and this actually needs to be set to raw. This same color space information needs to also be set to both roughness and metalness. So I'm going to go and click metalness, change color space to raw, and then change roughness also to raw. Lastly, since we are utilizing this out alpha tab on both metalness and roughness, I need to change one more setting on these. If you expand this color balance dropdown, there is a checkbox that says alpha is luminance. I need to make sure that is enabled for both metalness and roughness. Lastly, now that this material is all set up, we can go ahead and assign it to the model. So I'm just going to move the hypershade over a little bit, and I'm going to right-click the model, move down here to Assign Existing Material, and click Eiffel Tower Phone. Since we named it correctly, it's a lot easier to identify what file it is. Now, since these are UDIM files, there is one more tag I need to change, and I'm going to have to change this on all 4 of these. I'm going to click this first one, base color, and near the top where it says UV tiling mode, I'm going to change from off to UDIM parentheses Mari. And I'm just going to change that for all 4 of them. Again, this is something you don't have to do if you are not utilizing UDIM tiles. One thing you'll notice on the file name, notice how this says 1001. When I change this to UDIM, it actually changes from 1001 to the open mouth UDIM closed mouth. Now, one thing you may notice when it comes to UDIM textures, they do not show the texture file in Viewport automatically. If you want to see the texture in the viewport, I'm going to go ahead and click this base color file and click Generate Preview. Once you give it a sec, you'll notice the texture loads in. And if you want to see what the raw texture looks like, you can click this little S. The S is a solo button. And just like that, now I can see my texture within the viewport. As a final bonus to this video, whenever you're working with a series of texture files like so, you end up with a bunch of these place 2D texture nodes. Notice how there's 4 of them. These allow you to change things like repetition, offset, rotate, etc. But in reality, we only ever need 1 of these. I'm going to go ahead and delete all but 1 of them, and then I'm actually going to set up connections from this single node to the rest of these. Now, you can't do something like this because this yellow line, if I actually expand this thing, you'll notice this yellow line is a bunch of additional nodes, and you don't want to sit here dealing with all of these connections. So instead, what you want to do is use a keyboard shortcut. To do this, you're going to want to hold Control, middle mouse drag on the purple square, drag all the way over to this little dot, and let go of middle mouse. I'll do it again. So hold Control, middle mouse drag onto the dot, and let go middle mouse. Hold Control, middle mouse drag onto the dot, and let go of middle mouse. And just like that, if I expand all of these connections are plugging in accordingly to all 4 file nodes.